Yo, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Today we're going to discuss another untimely killing of another young black man in America, which took place in Aurora, Colorado, which lets you all know that black men are being killed all over the planet. We got to put an end to this, and this is the purpose of this show. Now I'd like to thank A-Tone Productions for allowing us to give you this quality footage, for producing the show. So definitely anybody who wants to do a commercial in regards to the Verbal Pick Radio Show, send us an email at atpexec at gmail.com. We'll get back with you promptly. But let us move on to the issue at hand, right? Because when we put the picture up of Elijah McClain, I want you all to study his face. I want you all to look at this young black man as if he was one of your own family members, right? Because this guy doesn't fit the stereotype of young black men that they try to produce in their Hollywood scripted movies where they try to portray us as thugs. This guy was a violin player, right? He played the violin to kittens that he felt was lonely, right? This guy suffered from anemia, which he had to wear a mask. Because if you ever been around people that suffer from anemia, their body temperature fluctuates, and a lot of times they'll be cold, and you're like, man, you cold, it's hot out. But when their blood level is low, especially if they're having or if they're low on iron, then that causes an effect to where they might have the chills or whatnot. So this young man walking home from the store bought some iced tea. Someone called the police department, right, and said that there's a guy walking with a mask on, waving his hands in the air. I don't know if he's dangerous. He could be. He may not be. I'm just alerting you all, which is the police department, right? But one thing white people got to realize is that when you alert the police department and you call the police on any black male, the police is coming, and they're coming more than likely to do bodily harm. By the tone in your voice, you can set the police off. If you sounding like you're afraid or you're afraid of your life, if you see a black male walking down the street, he's not breaking into a car. He's not breaking into nobody's home. He's not walking down the street with a gun or a knife or some sort of weapon. And then you're observing him, and then what's the purpose of calling the police to the scene? Because when they come to the scene, a lot of times, black males wind up dead, even black females, right? So he's walking home. Police pulls up on him. They tell him to stop. He's like, for what? I haven't committed any crime. Why? And basically, why are you all messing with me, right? Because you can tell this is an intelligent man. He knows his rights. The police officers never placed him under arrest, so how can you resist arrest if you was never under arrest? They never told him the reason why they're detaining him. You're stopping his forward progression for what? This is a man. He wants to go home. He just bought him some iced tea. He want to go home and enjoy his tea and shouldn't have to suffer being killed at the hands of 3 white officers. Now, white officers, look. Whenever you all come to the scene, you take a person who is afraid, because you got 3 white officers with the reputation of killing young black men. You roll up on us, and sometimes it's not in the instance of being aggressive or fighting back. Sometimes it's fear, like, because it's the fight or flight symptom kicks in. You know, because at the end result, we're preparing, we're trying to get away with our lives. You know, do we fight these police officers? You know, or do we surrender and hopefully they don't kill us when we put ourselves at their mercy, which a lot of times they kill us anyway. So we caught in a Mexican standoff. We caught in the catch-22, right? So let me read this for you though. Now, Elijah McClain died after being put in a chokehold and injected with ketamine in Denver last year. They put a 23-year-old, 3 white officers, in a chokehold and then injected him with a drug to sedate him. This dude suffered from brain damage and then he died 10 days later. It was uncalled for. But now police officers know, well, hey, you know, my superiors, the chief of police, if they share the same mindset, if the 3 officers are racist and the police chief is a racist, then how can you get justice when they both share the same mindset? The police chief would tell them what to do. Now, apparently, everyone had on body cameras, but all of a sudden, the body cameras fell off. No body camera footage. On all 3 police officers? Okay, come on. Now they think we stupid, right? So now they're saying, well, there's not enough evidence to corroborate anything other than what the officer said because there's no body cam footage. So, hey. So now here's another mother had to bury her son due to police brutality and white people wondering why America is up in flames. Now we have to get into why. You know, what's the reason? We all told you on a previous broadcast of how the police department started by chasing runaway slaves in a racist period in America's history. And that same sentiment is still evolving itself in 2020. So we have to come with real solutions to put this to an end. What are some of the real solutions? Right? When you go out, you can't go out by yourself. If you can travel with a partner, a buddy, that's fine. Get you a concealed handgun license. Because it might come a time where you might have to shoot back. Get you a legal knife. You know, because it's going to be a time where you might have to shank somebody to save your own life. And it's sad to say this, but the evidence is out there. You have to love yourself enough to where you want to protect yourself and you want to preserve your life. Now, we can go into the history of Yakub and how the scientists grafted the Caucasian race from the black race 6,000 years ago. And how the Caucasian race was taught a system of tricks. And how their nature has always been against melanated people. And I don't care what country you're from. You have 1% of melanin to 1,000,000% of melanin within your body. You're a target. How do we remove the threat? And that's the discussion that we're having. And I don't want to go too far because I'm waiting till after Minister Farrakhan speaks on July 4th, NOI.org, and we'll place that up time and where you can watch the minister's speech because that is the solution. Now you wonder why COVID-19, which is a disease or disease, and racism is at the forefront today, and racism is a disease as well. It's a disease as well. Just like America has Dr. Fauci, who's giving advice on what to do in the midst of this COVID-19, the black race worldwide has Minister Farrakhan as the doctor on what to do and how to solve this race problem. because it needs to be solved. Because the bully can't continue to bully man and expect man to just ball up and freeze and beg for his life or beg for mercy from someone that over 400 years haven't shown any mercy. And if you think like that, then you're insane. Black leaders, stop. As I did the show last night on Ludacris, when Ludacris came out and was talking about, we all have to love each other, and he's making songs about love, and got this music and movement that's taking place in Atlanta. We don't have time for that. We, at this point in our sojourn in America, we need solutions that's going to give us total and complete freedom. We can't pacify this situation anymore. And as I stated, black people, please stop listening to these celebrities. Most of these celebrities are bought and paid for. They hand-picked. You gotta leave them alone. They're not there to give you strength. They are there to make you weak. And we can't function by being weak. Because when you're weak, you're easy. They just roll over you. They just knock you to the ground and keep going. Black women, I know you're afraid for your sons and your nephews and the male members in your family. Because you don't want to see another black male or another loved one coming home in a body bag due to police brutality, right? But everything that we was taught to do, how to put your hands up in the air when the police come, and how to lay face down on the ground, how to, and some incidents that still didn't work. Still wound up dead. So you have to really understand with the type of people you're dealing with. Now, Brother Cornell X, as I stated previously, good plan, had a great plan. Don't let white police officers patrol in a black area. Or it's even better, you can do it like this. If a male police officer stops a female police officer, they're supposed to hold her there till a female police officer arrives on the scene to do any body search or anything in that nature. Well then, if a white police officer pulled a black person over or tries to detain a black person, just hold them there till another black officer comes on the scene and let them talk. Because it comes to a point to where now we don't understand one another. And we're not going to understand one another as long as the narrative of curriculum that's taught in society has been derived by Caucasians alone. If you're not mixing in the teaching of Elijah Muhammad, if you're not teaching about Marcus Garvey, if you're not teaching about Noble Drew Ali, if you're not teaching about Sheikh Anta Diop, then you're doing a disservice to the black population that's in America. If you're not teaching about the Moors in Spain and in Portugal, you're doing a disservice to the black population and to white people as well, because you purposely tilted the side to make it seem like white people invented everything, they created everything, and black people didn't do anything to further advance civilization. Because you hid knowledge away. I'm glad that we're at the point where we can talk about Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. We still need to talk about the horrific act that took place in the Devil's Punch Bowl in Mississippi in Natchez, she still got to get on that because that was even more horrific than Black Wall Street. You know, all of this needs to come out and be placed on the table. So before I go, let's get into the nature of the Caucasian, right? So 6,000 years ago, Caucasian was grafted out of the black man and the black woman. After they were grafted on the island of Pelon or the Bible Patmos, they came into the holy city of Mecca, caused so much mischief in the holy city of Mecca, Arabia, that General Muck and his soldiers gathered up all that they could find and marched them to the hills and cave sides of Europe called the Caucasus Mountains, told them that the earth was flat so they wouldn't try to travel beyond, and they thought that they'd fall off the earth. That's where you get the earth is flat theory from, was to keep them bound in. Until Moses came and taught them a law of how to eat, the 10 Commandments, to civilize themselves so they can come back out amongst civilization and be civil. We make them study from 35 to 50 years before they can call themselves a Muslim son. Is that right, Brother Mark?
Yes, sir.
35 to 50 years before they can call themselves a Muslim son and wear a holy flag, or they call themselves Shriners or whatnot, to prove that they civil enough for us to do trade with. We put them under that law. But it wasn't enough. Killed all the prophets trying to teach peace and love. So when you hear black folks saying, look, singing them damn songs and them Negro spirituals and that we shall overcome, we tried that already. It don't work. But you're so arrogant, you think you know more than Minister Farrakhan. You think you know more than the conscious community brothers who studied this and carried the records from eons, from ancient time immemorial, who taught and who studied and who understood the plight. And they shared that knowledge. But, okay, you're going to always have detractors or puppets or those that they can go get to do their bidding. You know, okay, we understand that. But it's boiling over to a point to where one man's cry for freedom is so strong to where you can't pull that person down. It's like when you suffered enough and you don't want to suffer anymore. And there's only two things left. You know, either I'm finna get healed or I'll be taken out. Heal me or pull the plug. That's where we at today's time, because it played itself out. We can't go another step forward under this type of injustice and police brutality, because that melanin connects us with love. So when you see a face like Elijah McClain, who played the violin, who bought some iced tea, had a plastic bag in his hand, could be from the iced tea he just bought from the convenience store, on his way home, what fear did he oppose? If you look at it, he would frighten who? And it wasn't his look, it was that melanin. It was the fact that he was black and them race soldiers. There's something about that melanin in our skin that sets them race soldiers off. And when they look around and they see no one around and watching, and if they the only ones that got a video and there's no one around with a cell phone to videotape their action, they're going to snuff you out. That's the mindset we have. That's the sentiment, because that's what's been going on. Every day you turn on the news, you see another black person murdered by the police, in which we pay our tax dollars to serve and protect us, whether they're black or brown, you know. And enough is enough. Every day. And not even to speak of the ones that there's no video on. The ones that you never heard of, the countless, all over this country. So when they say, well, it's just a few bad apples, that's a lie. That's a lie. Because the nature, and as I stated, when you got one racist, that one racist dominates the whole department, all the way up to the police chief, and that's why these cases get swept under the rug, because in their eyes, they're only killing another nigger. That's how they see it. And we so naive to where all we want to do is enjoy life. We want to watch God's creation. We want to get along. We want to stop black on black crime and create industry and jobs for ourselves to deal and enjoy. Take vacation, travel, show love to our significant other. Man, woman, man, enjoying life, having fun, right? But it's like any community, right? When it's always peaceful. Then you see one cop car roll in, right? Then you see another cop car roll in. Then you see another cop car roll in. And before you know, there's chaos throughout the whole community. Sometimes just their presence there with that heavy hand creates the atmosphere. It shapes the environment, and they know this. You can have a peaceful establishment in the black community. Soon as you start placing the burglar bars and in the boundaries, and you're throwing metal detectors up at schools when kids got to walk through, you creating that mindset purposely. Nobody's done. We know what you're doing. It's just the sad part is we haven't figured out a way to counter it. Or those who have figured out a way to counter it, then you'll go get some of these black leaders to go against the ones who figured out the way to counter it, because they're scared that you're gonna pull your dollars from up under them. So they gotta play ball. They have to go along to get along. Okay, but that's time is playing out too, as well. And I had to vent this because Elijah McClain case was just as bad as George Floyd, because this 23-year-old man at the prime of his life pleading with these officers, he's explaining to them his condition. He's asking them not to kill him. But the officers didn't pay him any attention because in their mindset, his life is just not valuable. I know we say Black Lives Matter, but it should be Black Lives are valuable, because without Black lives, there'll be no lives. But they didn't see his life as being valuable enough to even listen to his cries. Because once they locked in on murder, then that's just what it is. Since George Floyd, so far 6 hanging from trees, black and brown. Noose found at Bubba Wallace's garage, which was they set him up. As Bubba Wallace stated, there's no other garages that has a noose at their garage that's been there for years. Come on, right? But you gotta watch that narrative. I'm gonna show y'all how, before I get out of here, let me show you how that plays out, right? This is what they'll do. They already know what they're gonna do, right? It's already been planned. It's plotted out, right? So they'll do something like, say, put a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage, right? Right. Which, by the way, he didn't even find the noose, right? Then they'll go to him, right? And they'll say, "Oh man, we found a noose in your garage. We so sad about it. Let's get a big uproar." And then reaction. We go to speak. Black Lives Matter. We tout all the racism that's going on within the black community and the police brutality that we're suffering, right? And then once you go out there and make the statement and get everybody in an uproar, Then they'll come and backdoor you right behind you and say, "Oh well, actually this noose had been there for a year," and to discredit you and make you seem as if you jumped the gun and you was quick to throw the race card when they planned it out all along. You got to stop falling for the tricks, which he is a master deceiver now. Hell, tricked us, for 400 years, but we're slowly getting it back together. We're coming around. We're recognizing we're not afraid, and I don't think we were ever afraid. I think that we were studying him, trying to understand what type of man can cut a child out of a woman's stomach when she's pregnant. What type of man can hang another man for frivolous acts, stealing a chicken or something, and you kill him? Who is this that we dealing with, and where did the hate come from? So we thought, well, hey, let's be on our best behavior and show that we don't want any problems. Matter of fact, we even put your white Jesus on the wall. We even sing songs to you. We even cook your food. Matter of fact, the black woman even let they nasty babies nurse on their titties during slavery time and give them that strong milk. Every time I see that, it crinkles my skin. Anyway, we even did that, and that still wasn't enough. They still killed you. So, hey, enough is enough. We don't want to see no more killing of young black men frivolously. That should never be, and that should never have been. And as I state again, Brother Cornell Licks was right. Remove all white cops out of black neighborhoods and vet them for 2 years so they can understand and study the community, then bring them back in. You can't take somebody from a small racist town and put them over black people. We don't even think the same. Our values not even the same. Hell, it is what it is. Till next time, though, anybody that like to advertise on the show, once again, that's ATPexec, EXEC @gmail.com, because we're glad to promote and help black businesses. We not charging no absorbent amount of rate, trying to take advantage of your business. But in this time, in this platform that we have, we like to extend and share our services to you all, and just across the board, black, brown businesses, any business. We really appreciate that to help you all out, because this is a new day and this is a new time. We got to move forward, but we got to move forward with strength. As Minister Farrakhan stated, we got to walk heavy on the earth. Verbal Pick Radio. We out.
That's good.